Okay, everybody, we are live. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, we're doing pretty good. Okay. Another day, another stream. I have to admit, I was this close to canceling. Feels like I got so much going on. And I really love to get a Total CMS 3 beta update out this week. I don't know. Week's going by really quick. David, how's it going? Thank you. Sounds good. Perfect. Mr. Cole, Franco, how are you guys doing today? Okay. Excellent. Matthias is here. Glad we got your feeds set up all working. Ryan, thanks for popping in. Okay. So, you guys, I'm sure a lot of you, at least I know a lot of you that I see in the chat are always active on the community. So you probably have seen the flutter of updates that have been coming out this week and a little bit at the end of last week, right, with Pi. So I thought it would be fun. There's some nice things that I shipped that maybe aren't necessarily apparent on what all the cool features are. With what we can do. So I thought it would be fun to look at some of these updates. I was hoping to have some pre-made demos by today, but man, crazy day. So crazy week. But didn't have a chance to do it. So we'll just build some demos as we go along. I have some existing ones, and we're not going to do everything from scratch. But I thought there were nice ones to kind of just show you what this new feature is for Pi and feeds and email stacks. It's been about almost a year since the last email stacks update, so it was nice, a little update, but a nice quality of life update for some people. Okay, so let's go ahead and share my screen. And Martin, thank you very much. I was speaking with a guy named Mark that you've worked for. He's in the Boston, Rhode Island area yesterday, and doing something for him. Helping him out with some stuff. And he gave you some top-notch reviews. Apparently, he worked with you on some stuff. So good job, Martin. Thank you very much for being a part of the community. Okay. Anyway, I was just going to share my screen. Boom. And what are we doing? Let's go to the product updates kind of section. Just kind of remind me what the heck we're going to be talking about today. One quick thing, actually. I'll probably have this in the next Weaver Bites. Quickly, I get this, I don't know, periodically, right? Question: how do I style form inputs? Form input labels. Okay, and pretty simple to do. Let's just go ahead and here I'll quickly. This isn't an update, but I've been getting that question quite a bit. So or every now and then. So we have a form input label. Let's say I have multiple of them, right? How do I customize that label? All right. So Insight Styles, we go to font color, right? And instead of putting it in a class, we're just going to go to this elements thing. I know a lot of people don't know about this, right? But if you go into elements and under here, there is form labels. Right? See that? Page element, form labels. And then we can set that to be whatever we want. And if you notice, voila, there we go. Super simple. Okay. I know a lot of people don't move off class very often, but go to this elements and there's a nice way of styling all kinds of stuff. Okay. In here, you can style, there's form stuff. There's total CMS stuff here, SVGs, sliders, table stuff, menus, right? Ways of styling certain parts of all menus on your page, right? Some good stuff. Ordered list, bullet lists, all images, all links, all kinds of cool stuff here. So make sure you check out this elements thing if you ever want to style like all of one particular thing, right? Okay. So there we go. All right, that's it. That's quick one. That'll be a good tip that'll go in the next Weaver Bites email. Okay. Actually, now that I'm looking at this is actually a really cool little doohickey here. Okay. And why don't I go over this? This is kind of a fun one. I did this for Davide, I think last week, with Davide, and we showed it off at the Hangout, did it at the Hangout. And I figured, hey, this would be a cool little layout to show you guys. So this has nothing to do with the updates today. Just another cool little fun tip. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let me chuck a pen on the page really quick so that I can hide these little CSS builder stacks so that we don't use them because they're the solution to our problem. All right. So the problem is, we have two columns. Now, let's envision something. Okay, let's say I have, here, we'll do something even better. Just to kind of, I'm going to chuck in a picture stack just to kind of give you guys a real feel of what we're going to be doing. And let's chuck in a picture. And I'm just going to use the same picture for everyone. Okay, we'll use Lady Liberty here. Okay, and under here, we'll put in a real life thing. We have text. Okay. So, let's preview this. You see now I have image text. Okay. Now, apparently I have center aligned. Let's turn center align off. Here, inherit. There we go. Okay. And, let's turn on some padding just so we have some stuff. And let's chuck it all in a container too, really quick, just so that it doesn't. Oh, I have it in a container. Nice. Let's chuck it in. This container can go from site with plus gooder. All right. All right. All right. So here I have a bunch of layouts. And if you're wondering how I generated that with just this, I use particle generator. Okay, it's in my slot machine stack. Super useful. Okay, allows me to replicate a particular layout many times. So let's say this is a blog. Okay, and I'm either using Total CMS version 1 to do this with feeds, or I'm using feeds to generate a layout that I need, or I'm using Total CMS 3 to generate a layout that I need. Okay, this is all about creating some dynamic layouts. Now, let's say in this particular layout, I have a blog, and this is kind of boring, right? Like having image text on every single one. What if I wanted to alternate this? So I wanted, on this second one, I wanted it to be text image, and then image text, and then text image, then image text, and text image, so on and so forth. Okay. How can we do that? So in this case, I'll show you let me go ahead and I'm going to put one of these outside of this particle generator. Okay. And so now I have this one inside Columns Pro. And inside Columns Pro, if you didn't know, one of the nice features of Columns Pro is that you can change the order of your columns. Okay. And it's a setting that is not available in the normal column stack. And there's order. So let's say on medium, I want to change the first column, which is this, to be 2. And then I want my second column to be 1. All right, let's see what that means. So that means is now on this one, I have now swapped them. Okay. So just to let you know what we're doing. So I know within Columns Pro, I can do this, right? I can change the order of things, which is awesome. So now in theory, I know it's possible to alternate these, this layout. So how do I do that dynamically? Because obviously here, in order to do that, I can't make those setting changes here because this is dynamically generated content. And if I were to do, let's say, like I did before, I can do medium 2, and this is medium 1, right? And if I preview that, it just flops everything, but I want to alternate it. How do I alternate? Okay, so let's go ahead and let me put everything back to the default really quick. So these ordering things are just CSS. Okay. And as you saw me hide earlier, okay, this uses a CSS builder stack. There isn't a swatch for this yet. could be interesting to have an order swatch. I don't know, but now this is a little bit tricky. The CSS here. Let's just show you. Now that I enabled these with pen, I turned off the do not publish. Okay, voila. Okay, so with those two CSS builders, you'll see that I now have alternating layout. Ooh, it's cool. Okay, so let's explain what's going on here. One important thing is inside here on Columns Pro, I have a class called Alternate Columns. And then inside the column, I have column A, and this one has column B. Okay, so custom class column B, custom class column A, and again, Columns Pro has custom class alternate columns. Very important. Okay, so now if we go to CSS Builder, we need to do some fancy CSS here. Okay. There isn't a way of doing this. There's a way of doing similar CSS with like the class and optional things. If you know under here under selector add-on, there's like nth and even down here, nth, even, nth, odd. Okay. But I'm not going to dive into all of that. Essentially, just to show you what we're doing is we're doing alternate columns, nth child even, column A. Okay. So what this is saying is inside alternate columns, okay, because in here I have an alternate column, alternate column, alternate column, alternate column, alternate column, right? There's multiple of those on the page right now. And what I'm doing is with that nth child even, okay, I am targeting every other alternate columns pro. Okay, so right now with that alternate columns nth child even, I'm targeting the second one, the fourth one, the sixth one, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what that alternate columns nth child even is. Now, once I target that one, right, I need to be able to target the columns inside of the nth child even. So I need to target column A and target column B. And to do that, essentially, you just do space call dash A and space call dash B. And then inside the CSS builder, we add in a rule where it is order 2 on column A and column B has an order of 1. And we're done. That's it. Okay. So pretty slick little layout there. Yeah. You can just do alternating columns now. Now, if you're using Total CMS 1 with blog, there's a way, there's settings in there to accomplish this, right? But yeah, it's just kind of fun to show you how we could do this with feeds or any sort of layout that dynamically generates our layouts so that we can do these alternating columns using straight CSS. Pretty cool. Okay, that totally wasn't on my agenda for today. But since I opened up this project file and saw it, I thought it would be fun to show you guys. Okay. And you know what? Maybe while I'm actually here, let's just go ahead and before I forget, I'm just going to open up the foundation project file here, and let's just do alternate columns. That way we don't lose this bad boy. Okay, and let's just do this. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna paste that in. Cool, make sure that that works. Voila. Save, and I will deploy that later. Okay, cool. So now we're not gonna have that lost. So we're gonna be like, oh, where is that? It's in the Foundation 6 demo file. Okay, which is available always for download on the Foundation product page. Okay, now let's get back to our regularly scheduled program, and let's look at updates here. Product updates. Let's just, we'll go for the oldest to newest. Why not? Let's look at Pi. Okay. Yes, I did some cool stuff with Pi at the end of last week. I think it was on Friday. With some stuff with Massimo. He had some interesting ideas for the pi show hide stack. Okay, and let's go ahead and show you. Let's open up the pi project file. Not what I wanted. I love Alfred, but sometimes it doesn't do what I expect it to do. Okay, there we go. Let me see if there were any questions. On click method on text field input possible in Pi 2. I'm not sure, Stephen, with your we're going to talk about Pi, so that kind of, we'll be playing with Pi show hide today. Cool. We're going to look at that now. On click method on text input field possible. Yes. Whenever you click an input, Pi should get triggered. So I'm not sure what you want to do. I need more info on that, Stephen. So, all right, let's look at Pi show hide, which is right here. And so one thing I've done, okay, and actually, I think I have Massimo's project file. Let me see if I can be. All right, we're gonna look at Massimo's project file because his is actually kind of better. I'll be honest. His demo is a little bit better than mine. I might steal his idea a little bit and add that to the demo page. Okay. So Massimo has a project where, and I think it looks like this could be a project file eventually. So sorry, Massimo, if I'm giving away the, but he linked this on the community. So, okay. In here, we're going to go ahead and click on continent. And if you click on state, actually here, I know if we did Europe and then Italy, you'll see that it kind of is this train of selections, right? So if I click on America, it shows US America states. If I click on Europe, it shows Italian states. And if I click on Italy, it shows me Italian cities, right? So there's this progression of data. Now, something that he did, okay, which the originally Pi show hide didn't really support, okay, is if we look at the setup here, so he has a select box called continent where you select America, Europe, Asia, or Oceania, okay, and then he has a Pi show hide that if the continent equals America, let's show the American states, okay. And if you look at that, actually here, so I think this is a different example, and I think a different example here, Shari, let me see. Oh, he did do state 1, state 2. All right. We should be able to now actually make this just state instead of state 1. And then over here, if we select continent Europe, let's do state. He has state 1 and state 2. I'm just going to make the field name state now. Okay. And then here, if let's change this. So if state equals Italy, okay, we want to do the city. Okay. Now, I'm going to ignore the rest. We'll just to keep it simple, I'm going to delete those just so they're not in our way. We're just going to deal with America and Europe for right now. Okay. Now, prior to this update, and this update does have this new checkbox. It says remove from form on hide. Okay. Now, prior, with this update, if a form field was hidden, such as this one right now, it was still in the form. And if you clicked on submit here, it would actually include all data, including the hidden fields. Okay. And because all the form fields are always there by default, you would need to make sure that you would have unique field names for each one. For example, here, he had state 1, and inside Europe, he had state 2, right? It was kind of a requirement before. But now, because this Pi show hide has this remove from form on hide, you can actually have the same fields, different fields with the same name that will get removed and added to the form dynamically with Pi show hide. So now, when I choose America, the state field is going to be the options of the American states. Whereas the European option, it has the field name of state, but it's a completely different field that has different, obviously different country names. It's not really a state, obviously, in Europe, but you guys get the idea, right? Okay. And same thing for city. If we were to go down into America, we can actually add a city field as well. And all is okay because if we, or let's preview this in the browser. Okay. And just so we can see here. Boop. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and let's look at this. All right. So, and there, we don't need to see the styles, but we need to increase the size here just so we can kind of show you guys. So we're looking for here, let's find state, right? If you look, there is no state field. I'm searching for state. There is no state field inside the form right now. So if I were to submit this form, which probably wouldn't work because it, I have to select America. Okay. And then now that I have America, if we find a state again, we'll see, boom, now there's an import actual field for state. Okay. And if I were to select Alabama or whatever, or if I go to Europe, right now there is a state field. Okay. And if I select Holland, there is not a city field. All right, let's search for city in here. You'll see that there's zero city fields. But as soon as I clicked on Italy, okay, now if I search for a city field, voila, look, there's now a city field. Oh, it says state though, but it should say city. Okay, there is a city field. All right. So again, these this latest update, and it is turned off by default. Again, is this remove from form field on hide. Okay. Quite tricky. There's a lot of tricky stuff going on by dynamically adding and removing form fields from the form. But it's a pretty cool update because it allows you to streamline where you don't have to give every form field a unique name, right? Such as here where we have the states for the US and the state for Italy, we can utilize the same name because they're going to be displayed on the form at different times based on different answers. So pretty cool. Doesn't seem like a big deal maybe to some people, but it was pretty cool. And there was a lot of very small intricacies. I had to release to fix some minor inconsistencies, several releases to get this kind of nailed down. Actually even had to ship an update to Foundation 6 because as form fields were added to the form, let's say the city field was added to the form. If it was set to required, Foundation wouldn't know about it because it needs to reevaluate the form every time a new field was added to the form. So I shipped an update to Foundation that took care of that. So now that form fields can be dynamically added, and Foundation will properly validate the new fields as they become available. Or if fields are removed, it'll do the same thing. Okay. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. And I think that was the big thing with Pi, is that here the Pi the remove from hide. And again, it is off by default. If you want that behavior, you can turn that on. So yeah, again, if you don't turn this on, you need to make sure that every field name is unique, and also know that when you submit the form, all the form fields will be available to that submission request. Okay. So there we go. Okay. That was, I think that dealt with all the Pi updates. Here, let's see Pi. See, there was another one from Pi. This was the Foundation update for Pi. Another update for Pi based on some other things. Let's see, I had to show hide. Yep. Okay. I think that was it for Pi. And yeah, this actually an update to Foundation today for another very edge case scenario for Josh. Okay, but let's dive into the emails update that I did, which is actually related to Foundation forms. Okay. So let's bring up my newsletters. All right. this is my, if you guys are curious, this is a project file that has every email that I send out, right? All of these emails that you've probably gotten from me, right? I design all of them inside with my email stacks, and they are all here. Recently, if you didn't notice, I actually did some design tweaks to my emails recently. And I've started adding rounded corners to the image. I've actually tweaked the fonts being used some more bold fonts and whatnot. So, yeah. And if you're curious, actually, again, something also not really in my plan for today, but I rounded the image using a swatch. So, not all swatches will work in email, but something simple like rounding should work just fine. Okay. And not all email clients support rounding, but if it doesn't, it'll just show up as a square image, right? So no harm, no foul. It'll look nicer in email clients that support it. And those that don't, it will show up as, square corners. So a very minor thing. Probably something that, eventually when I come to the version 2 of email, we'll add some more stuff like that. Okay. But I was talking about how the update that I did. So, to show you what the update is, we're actually going to look at a foundation form. Okay, and here I'm gonna trash that for now. Oh, we don't need to trash all of it. All right, let's just do that. All right. Let's add in a form. All right, and let's add in an email action. Okay. Now you might know that inside of an email. We have all kinds of cool things where we can integrate data from the form into our emails. Okay. So for example, here, if I had a form input with the field name of name, okay, let's just say this one is name. Okay. Essentially by default, this subject will then integrate the name field into the subject of the email. And we do that via the common twig syntax that we're familiar with nowadays. Okay, where it's just curly braces, the name of the field, and then close it with curly braces. Okay, and you can actually do that in all the fields here. Okay, so you can do it in the from address, the from name, the to address, the to name. It doesn't work on the email on failure settings, but it does work in the optional recipients. Okay. And it doesn't work in the SMTP server settings. I think that would be not a good thing. Okay. But another cool thing that it does is it allows us to, if we use a custom email template, we can also use those values here. Okay. Now this is very small, right? And this does support Markdown, which is cool. We can type in an email in Markdown, and we can integrate the data from our form directly into the email using this curly brace twig syntax. Okay. There is a special one that has 3 curly braces with fields. That's kind of a special macro. It's down here in the tips if you ever forget it. Okay. Down here. Okay. And that's a special one that will basically inject all the fields for you, and it'll create like a bullet list. Okay. Now, how does this work with email stacks? So inside of email, I can create an email, and if you didn't know, I can, with the inliner of the email stacks, you can copy to clipboard. And what you can actually do is you can take that, and while it's big and a lot of data, you can paste it directly into there. And now my custom email uses the email that I built using my email stacks. Pretty cool, right? And to even go farther, I'm going to duplicate this so I don't lose this email. Okay. You can even use those curly braces. Let's say I can do, let's say I did like hello name. Okay. You can do stuff like this, where at this point, your curly braces, you're integrating the form's content into your email, right? So if I were to, preview this and then copy this and paste this into this form, okay, into this custom email template setting, the name from the form will get integrated into the email when it gets sent. Now, this isn't a new feature. This feature has been around for years, okay? But there are some caveats here. Let's say I integrated into my form, I integrated data into a URL or an image. Let's say I had this image URL here, and I put in I don't know, maybe something in here like product, okay, and I wanted to integrate that little macro into this image URL, okay. Come on, where is it? I shouldn't have gone to the end here. All right, so here I'm integrating that product. Maybe it's a product ID or something like that, right? I'm integrating the product ID into this image URL, or I'm integrating it into a link. There are many places where these curly braces would get translated back into like an HTML entity. Okay, it would basically be a %7b instead of a curly brace, right? And this is because this was like a URL encoding for, compatibility and blah, 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 blah. But in order for those curly braces to resolve our form data, they have to be a curly brace. They can't be %7b, okay? So what this update does is if I were to now, preview this and copy this to the clipboard, okay, buried inside of this code here would actually be in this image URL would actually be the curly brace instead of what was happening, the %7b. So I know a lot of you, what you were doing is you were copying this into like a text document, and then you were doing like a global search and replace. You no longer have to do that. This all you have to do now is copy to clipboard, and everything should be as you would expect it to be. Okay. But I wanted to kind of show off. I know a lot of people don't understand that you can actually use the email stacks to build out a beautiful email and then integrate that email into your email action in a Foundation 6 form. And then not only that, but integrate data from the form into your beautifully formatted email, which is pretty cool. Okay. Maybe I should do like an entire dedicated live stream just for that one day. Okay. I probably have done it already, but who cares? Maybe we'll do it again. Let me know in the chat if you think that would be a good thing. And actually I can do like a full blown demo and show you everything and show you working and all that jazz. Okay. But anyway, cool update. Okay. Saves you a lot of time if you were using that feature. And if you didn't know about that feature, now you do, and now you can use it. Okay. Another power feature is I know you can copy these. And if you're using SiteLock, you can use these emails inside SiteLock as well. I don't know how to integrate data. I don't know if SiteLock has its own templating thing like this. But I know you can use HTML generated by the email stacks with SiteLock, which is nice. Another thing you could do is if you're using a service such as Sendy, which is what I use, right? I can copy the clipboard. Then you can go into Sendy, right? And you can say create new campaign, and you can say go to the HTML editor and paste and switch back, and voila, there's my email. That's how I send all my emails to you guys, right? That's the exact workflow that I use. Whoops, hit my mic. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, that's enough about the email stacks. Let's just close this out. Don't need that right now. All right. Last one of the day is feeds update. Right. And so there we go. I don't see any more questions about will it work in feeds. So yes, I won't go over it. Josh did a video, I think it was at last year's summit, that showed how he uses feeds. This is really cool. Okay, here, let me just go back to me. I don't have a demo of this, but he uses feeds to actually dynamically generate an email from a Total CMS blog. And let's say in his he generates an email, and at the bottom of the email it has like our latest 3 blog posts, right? And pretty amazing that you can actually do that. And so if you want more on that, check out his talk at this. I believe it was last year. It could have been in 2022 or 2023. I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last year. His talk was awesome. And he shows you how you can use feeds to dynamically generate content inside of your email. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. Yeah. And also in the future, we'll make sure we get Total CMS 3 action as well so that we can dynamically do all that. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole for right now. But yeah, check out. And while we're talking about the summit, okay, summit's coming up April, 2 months from now. I think it's April 13th to the 17th. Oh man, let's see. Summit, okay. April 11th to the 13th. Okay. Yeah, really cool 3-day online course, not course, conference, all done on Zoom. We will have at least 15 speakers. I'm having a lot of people accepting. So a lot of times many times I'll overbook the summit with speakers, and then there's always 1 or 2 people that drop out. And we end up at 15. So, but so far it looks like we're going to have a full crowd. So we might actually be going an extra hour each day this year. We'll see. But yeah, because I have a lot of people that want to speak, which is awesome. I do have a couple open spots still. If you are interested in speaking, please let me know. We're always looking for new speakers. Everybody has something to share to the community. So this is a great weekend where we can learn not only just from me, but from Isaiah, other developers, and more importantly, fellow weavers. Okay, so I have probably more new speakers this year than I've had in a long time, which is fun. Okay, and we have the all the originals coming up, right? So Chris is going to talk. Brett Carmichael is going to be there again. Josh is going to be there giving a great talk. Davide is going to be giving a talk. So a lot of the faces that you see as leaders in the community, they're going to be there and speaking. A lot of developers are going to be there as well. Isaiah is going to be giving at least 1 talk, probably 2. He's been doing 2 talks mostly. And we have a commitment to have, my goal this year is to actually have all speakers are going to be using Stacks app by then. I know we don't have a public beta, a new public beta yet, but working really hard with Isaiah to make sure that we have it so that every speaker is going to be doing their talk and showing their demos using Stacks app. So, and I'll work extra hard. If you're a speaker, I'll work extra hard with you to make sure that your demos and everything that you're going to be showing off works well inside Stacks app. So, can't wait for that to happen. So, yeah, head to summit.weavers.space, book your spot, 3 days online. You'll get access to not only all the recordings from this year, but all the past recordings from every previous year. This is year number 9 that we've been doing this summit. So super excited. Next year is going to be year number 10, big year. And I'm really excited for that. I'm really looking forward to this kind of really kicking off like the Stacks universe going forward, right? Really new beginnings. So really looking forward to that. And yeah, check that out. Summit.weavers.space. Get your ticket, $99, 3 days, and you get access to all the previous stuff from previous years, all 9 years of talks. And we always have some good goodie bags as well. So a lot of times the goodie bags pay for your ticket. Okay, to be honest with you. So, yeah, pretty much every year the goodie bag pays for your ticket, which is fun. So, right, enough with that. Let's jump into the last update, which is feeds. And let me go ahead and open up my feeds project file. I was working on that on my laptop, and where is it? Darn it. All right, we'll create a new page on this. Actually, you know what? I have another feeds thing. I might show off. If we have time, I'll show off one more feeds thing. Okay, actually, it's this right here. It's the new baby of feeds coming out soon. But yeah, for now, let's add in a new page, and we're gonna do get and post. Okay, and we're just gonna use foundation for this. Why not? Okay, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna add in a feeds stack. Okay, and let's just keep it simple. We'll just do like a header. Okay. So inside here, we're going to start off with, there are two new feeds available in feeds. Okay. We have get URL data and post request data. Okay. And let's start off with get URL data. So let's do something super simple, and I'm just going to pass in a hello name. Okay. And actually here, let's do this. I'm going to get fancy here. We're going to use some fancy twig here, and all right, we're going to do this. So what this is going to do is if I pass name to the URL, it's going to put a name in there. And if I don't pass a name, it's just going to default to fellow weaver. Okay, and here we'll put an exclamation point at the end. Okay, so let's go ahead and preview this in the browser because it's easier to pass URL parameters from a browser. So as you see now, it says, hello, fellow weaver. Okay, and if I go ahead and pass a name parameter to the URL, you'll see that it now says, hello, Joe. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, pretty slick. I see you guys are posting 12/11th. Oh, you guys are commenting on the summit dates. Yes, 11th through 13th. Okay. So yeah, pretty cool here. Yeah, pretty slick. Now you could do this outside of feeds, but it's like it requires like some PHP, echo statements and whatnot, right? So this just makes it pretty simple. If I pass a name parameter to the URL, okay, I can then get that data straight from Twig. Pretty cool. I like it. Okay. Now, what about post? What is post data? Okay. So a lot of times that is coming from a form. Okay, that's the easiest way to generate post data. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to quickly add in, let's add in a little bit of, okay. And let's add in a form. Let's do a text input. Let's just call this, we'll stick with name. Okay. Name, label, name. Oh, that's the placeholder. Joe Schmo. Okay. And we'll just hide that for now. And then we'll do, we need a submit button. And our form action is going to be a post URL action. Okay. Now, I think with this, for this demo, my form, I'm just going to submit to the same web page. But a lot of times what you do is maybe you have a form page and you submit to a different URL, and then that URL then takes that form data via post data and then integrates it into the web page. Okay. Josh did a really cool kind of form where he, it was kind of like a order confirmation page that outputted, and he was, used all this post URL stuff. It's kind of what gave me the idea for this feature, because he was using a bunch of PHP echo statements, and this solves that for us. Okay, so now instead of get, we're going to process our post information. Okay, so now instead of the get URL data, I'm going to do post request data. Okay, and I'm going to keep the same here. We're just going to do hello name else default fellow weaver. Okay, so now we're going to this preview. Well, let's do it in the browser. Okay, so now I have hello fellow weaver. And this should say submit, but whatever. We can do Joe, and I'm going to say submit, and voila. We'll see that now when I submitted that form, we are now parsing the post data. Okay. And so, yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier. So you don't have to do all the PHP echo statements and stuff like that. We can just access that data super easily using Twig. And even then we could do this cool, Twig stuff, like, providing a default value if one isn't provided, which is pretty slick. Okay. Now, one thing. What if you wanted to supply get data and post data all at the same time? Okay. So what I allowed you to do actually with these is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add get back into here. Okay. And let's preview that. Okay. Now, if you see here, it says hello Weaver. Now, if I type in Joe, remember this form sends it via post data. Okay. So I'm going to click that. And if you look here, it says, hello, Joe. But I had the get data on there. And if we look at the URL, it's not there. Okay. So what does that mean? Okay. So both the get and the post data process both get and post data. Okay. However, basically, because in PHP, there is get data, which is, again, supplied via the URL. And there is post data, which is hidden from the URL, but it's data passed to the web page. Okay. And normally that is done via a form. And I came up with a way of, now you can have get data and post, like I could pass a name field to this. And if I do name equals Scott, okay, you'll see that, boom, whoa, I have two now. Okay. Actually, I think I have an old version installed. I fixed that. Essentially, what's happening now is, what this stack does is it will look at both get and post data, and it will merge it. Okay. And if there is the same data, it works because I have both in here. That's why it's doing that. If I were to refresh this now, there we go. All right, there's only one. So get data will look at the post and get data, but if there's duplicates where post has a name field and get has a name field, get wins. Okay, so get takes priority. But when you're using the post data, okay, and there's both, let's say, a name parameter for there is a name parameter for the get data and the post data. With this one, the post data wins. Okay. So it's a way where we can still access all the data, but one wins where the other one doesn't. Okay. Just to let you know kind of how all that works. I thought that was a nice workaround to be able to access both sets of data at the same time. But obviously if we want to take priority of post data, that data is going to win over the get data. Okay. So anyway, there we go. I know this is definitely probably a more advanced topic. And you're probably wondering how the heck I'm going to use this. And yeah, a lot of it is, especially with post, if you're submitting a form, and then, submitting that data and displaying that on the web page, as some sort of confirmation. And maybe you can like print that using the print stacks. Okay. Wink, wink, with Josh's new signature stack. Wink, wink, which is pretty cool. Check it out. He's releasing it Friday. Be on the lookout. if you want a sneak peek, you can go over to, I gotta show it off a little bit. Okay, it's pretty cool. The stacksweaver.com. Sorry, Josh, I'm spoiling your. Oh, wait, it's not even here. What? I thought it was on his homepage. He's trolling me. I thought it was on. Oh, here it is. See? Check out Signature Pro. Pretty cool little doodad. Voila, you can sign stuff. You can undo. Don't do orange signatures or blue signature fields though. I don't know. Keep it plain. Either do black or white. Pretty cool. I like it. And what's slick is like it transmits this via creates a PNG of the signature. He did a superb job. So good job on this. I love it. Yeah, check it out. If you need signatures in a form, yeah, this is the bee's knees. Check that out. It's going to be officially released on Friday, but obviously it looks like you can buy it now. So go bug Josh. It's good stuff. Okay. Okay, I promised if we have time, I noticed we have 8 minutes left. Okay. There's a new stack coming called Feeds API. Now, what is the purpose of this? If you were familiar, I think it was last month, I did a live stream building out this particular form where it looked up UK postcodes, right? And it queried an online API, and we kind of built this cool little thing, right? And it got me thinking, like, this was a really cool demo, and I created Pi2 and actually made it easier using Pi2. That was kind of it was actually one of the motivations for Pi2 was this cool live stream that we did. But I thought we could go a little bit farther, and I was like, well, what if someone wants to do something like this, but there isn't this cool online API that lets us query for whatever? In this case, let's say there wasn't a UK postcodes API that was available for free out in the world. What could we do? Like, how could I make that a possibility? And so it got me thinking, like, okay, well, we already have feeds, and feeds allows us to have many different data sources, right? We can populate it from a CSV file, JSON files, from databases, from YouTube and Vimeo, all the way to total CMS, right? So Feeds has a lot of really cool stuff where we can store data, lots of any type of data you want, okay? But then how can we create an API? Instead of displaying that data to a web page, I want to generate an API from this thing. Like, I want to make it available to anybody. Pretty cool, right? So that's exactly what this does. So Feeds API has access to all of the feeds data imports, okay? And here in this example here, I'm just using some CSV files, okay? They're actually not even files. They're just stored in here. And I just copy those from the CSV demo right here, okay? But what this does is instead of creating a web page, it creates an API, right? So as you see here, when I preview this, instead of generating a web page, it generates an API for us with the data. Okay, so now we can then use our own API to maybe generate some cool whiz bang, integration that we could do with our forms or whatever. Maybe you wanted to offer an API to your customers to access data, right? Pretty cool. Now there's some things I still need to add to this, like some API keys and stuff like that. So we'll definitely add that. But by the end of the month, I hope to have this officially released. And it's really cool. And you can also do filtering. So like, let's say, I wanted to query the API for, well, I haven't added any queries in here, but let's say I do dynamic URL filter, contains, and I want to filter by title. Okay. because I think I'm using the title field. Okay, so let's say in here I want to query for title, title equals paint. Okay, and voila, you'll notice that my query now resulted in only this particular query, right? It only resulted in that one item. So we can then do kind of API queries as well on the fly. For those of you who joined the Hangout, you'll notice that I fixed that because I demoed this last Friday and filtering wasn't working. So it's working now, which is cool. Okay. So yeah, pretty slick. I think if I did Golden was another one. So there's Golden Gate Bridge, right? So we can do some really cool filtering based on the data and then only return the data that we need, right? I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be really cool. It's definitely, I understand 100% an edge case thing. This isn't going to be a mass market thing. I know that it's probably for definitely the more advanced users, someone that wants, I think it's not hard to use, but I think having a use for it is definitely on the advanced side. You know, so if you want to create some sort of cool form like this, there isn't available APIs out there. We now know that you can actually create your own if you need it. If you want to give, again, access to your customer's API or give your customers access to an API, you can do that too. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a very useful stack for those that need it. And there we go. It'll be a new feeds add-on coming by the end of this month. Okay, pretty cool stuff. Okay. That's that, everybody. That's all I had for today. Some cool updates. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little bit of cool new stuff about Pi with email and feeds today. So take care. Hope you guys see you on Friday at the Hangouts. And go get your summit ticket. It's coming up 2 months from now, April 11th to the 13th. As Scott Williams says, it is the best kept secret the best add-on in the community. He said that's what he said. He called the best add-on in the entire community, which I appreciate that. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your